Sara may be figuring out Hillerska's a little different than she thought. Simone's flirting with another guy, and Wilhelm is on the warpath. Hello, entertainment enthusiasts. This is Ray, and this is the Fandom Realm. Today, I'm reviewing Episode 1, Season 2 of Young Royals. Of course, Season 1 saw the show absolutely explode into everyone's living rooms. And we've all been waiting without a lot of patience for Season 2 to see what happens with Prince Wilhelm and Simone and the rest of the group at Hillerska. Before I get started, this is going to be basically a recap, and then I'm going to go over some reactions. So, I'm going to recap what happened in Season 2, Episode 1 of Young Royals. Of course, we've already seen the first 4 minutes, and that is an accurate 4 minutes. They didn't skip anything or lie or anything like that. It starts out with Prince Wilhelm having a dream about him and Simone being together. Now, this, I think everybody was very hopeful when they first saw this, but it is just a dream. We actually learn he is still at the palace, or at the castle, and he heads off into his brother's room. And we get a very emotional scene here. It's the same one in the first 4 minute release they did. And he tries on Eric's jacket. He pulls out a keepsake. He ends up looking in the mirror and seeing a picture of Eric and August. And that's going to make him a little bit mad. And he's going to burn the picture. At least August's part of the picture. That's going to cut us to a scene from Hillerska, and August is going to be working out. Once again, he really likes to work out. That's great. And then we're going to skip to Simone's house. His sister is coming in with a boy named Marcus, and he is needing a bathroom. They point him to the bathroom, and he is going to end up hearing Simone singing, and he ends up going back to Simone's room, and they talk, and it ends up that he actually asks Simone out to go to karaoke. Now, while all this is happening, we do also find out that Sara has been accepted into Hillerska. The next scene is going to jump to Felice. She's getting her hair done, and she's talking to her mother. And her mother's not happy that she's not wanting to ride anymore. She's also having a discussion through text messages with Wilhelm. They seem to have gotten close, probably because she told him who publicized the video. So her mom's not real happy with her not riding. Of course, they looked for that horse forever, but she gets information from Sara that Sara has been accepted to stay at Hillerska, so she's going to be very happy. Then that's going to move us to move-in time at the school, and it's not something that Sara probably was expecting. She is going to be rooming with Felice, but she basically finds that Felice's room's a mess. There's no room for her things in their closet. Felice has taken everything up. And so I think they're really starting to show very early on that this might not be all Sara thought it was going to be. We're also going to get to see another initiation. Of course, in the first season, we got to see Prince Wilhelm initiated into the school. Well, Sarah's going to get her initiation by the girls as well. And her initiation is going to be, well, of course, they're drinking. They dress her up in a stupid costume. And she actually is going to be sent to the third year's end of the year party. And she's going to have to cause something that could make that party end. Now, she doesn't in the end, but we'll talk about that in a few minutes. In the next set of scenes, we're going to see Prince Wilhelm arriving at Hillerska in his car. They're also going to show us where the party is and all the guys and girls getting ready for that party. We're also going to get to see August. August is having a really rough time. Right now, he's really wanting Prince Wilhelm's attention, and Wilhelm is not giving it to him. And so he's having some mental health issues at the moment, it seems like. The other big thing that is starting to happen is Sara's mom is worrying about her. She is not responding to her text messages and calls. So Simone actually tells his mom that he will try to get a hold of Sara and see what's going on. So we're going to start looking at the party. Sara actually goes to the party. She's drunk, of course, not answering her mom or Simone's texts. And she's actually going to be being filmed at the party. She's drunk, she's loud, and she is going to catch one of their banners, flags, on fire. And that is going to stop the party, at least momentarily, and it's basically what they wanted her to do. Now, because Simon can't get in touch with Sara either, he tells his mom he's going to try to take care of it. He looks for a ride. He is going to end up having to call Marcus. And Marcus is going to give him a ride to the party. Of course, who else is going to the party? Prince Wilhelm. He actually gets some of the other students that are stuck at the school. He's going to head them to the party. He also heard that Sara was there, so there was a little twinkle in his eye that maybe Simon would be there. And they're basically going to arrive at the same time. It looks like through different doors, though. It looks like Simon heads around back. Prince Wilhelm and the rest of the guys head to the front door, where they get basically into a little bit of a argument with some of the third years, and August ends up coming out to try to quell what was going on. But Wilhelm is really going to use that Crown Prince title to his advantage when he forces August to call him Crown Prince, and forces August basically to back down and let them into the party. So finally, after we get Simon getting in and we get Prince Wilhelm coming in, we're going to, of course, have them come face to face. Going to be some awkward conversation, some awkward silences. They are going to talk, but in the end, Simon leaves. Marcus has to leave, so his ride was heading out. This is going to lead to a very interesting conversation out on the front porch. One of the other male boarders, and I don't know his name right off the top of my head. I'm going to have to look it up. But Wilhelm is watching Simon leave, and he's sort of giving that sort of look of who is he leaving with. And the other boarder basically identifies Marcus, tells him that he had met Marcus on Grindr the previous spring or summer, and that he worked down, and that Marcus worked down at the stables. Along with that, this other male student, very high class, basically tells Wilhelm that the problem with Simon is that he was basically underneath their level. So he wasn't rich like they were, or in that level of society, and that if he needed to find somebody else, just to let him know, and he would try to help him out. Very interesting little conversation. Moving on to the next scenes, we're going to get to see the entire school come together to hear the principal, headmistress talk about starting the new school year. It is, of course, it seems to be January after Christmas, so I guess they're starting their new year in that time period. And there's actually some snow on the ground this year, so that's very interesting. Headmistress is basically going to be talking about the fact that the third years will be graduating on a special day, and that special day is the 120-year anniversary of Hillerska, and the Queen is going to be there. Wilhelm is supposed to give a speech, and with that, we are missing Simon, who turns out to have been late. They show him getting on the bus. He's talking with his friends. It is going to be obvious he still has feelings for Wilhelm, but he needs some space. And his friends are wanting him to get space from Wilhelm and not talk to him and do other things. That's when Simon is going to tell them that he's going to be going to karaoke with Marcus. Now, of course, Wilhelm was looking for Simon and couldn't find him. He's going to end up talking outside with some of the other students. He's going to find out, as we all do, that Alexander has basically bought himself back into the school from the punishment from the drugs from the year before. And it looks like from the other students' statements that Alexander does not know that it was Wilhelm who had the idea to frame Alexander and not Simon. There's going to be another moment I'm going to mention in just a few minutes. As they start to walk to class, Wilhelm is going to go with Felice. Basically, they're following August, and they're talking about what Wilhelm is going to do, and he's wanting to take everything that August cares about away, which that is his power, things like being prefect, being captain of the rowing team, all those type things. And then they're going to move on to the girls, and basically Sara is talking to some of the other girls. They're in, it looks like a snack bar area. I'm not exactly sure what was going on there, but she actually deducted some money from her account, so I'm not sure whether she was buying something for them or what was sort of going on there. I didn't understand it, but that's going to move us on to class. Simone is heading quickly to class because he was late this morning. He actually missed the group gathering. The choir was singing, so he missed that. The choir teacher confronts him, and she basically tells him, hey, there's going to be important people here. This is going to be a time for you to shine when there's graduation. And so that is something that he really likes, a big smile. That really excites him. Then he goes into class, and he has to sit beside Wilhelm. Few little things going on there, and Wilhelm is going to ask for a pencil, and Simone is going to help him out, and then we're going to end that scene and head on to, it looks like dinner, maybe it's lunch, but I think it's dinner, and they're all sitting at the table. We're going to have our second big conflict between Wilhelm and August, but first, another very important conversation here, and I mean, this conversation sort of bothered me a little bit, and not in a bad way. It's sort of meant to slap people in the face. But Alexander is sitting beside Wilhelm, and Alexander tells Wilhelm that he knows that Wilhelm didn't have anything to do with him getting suspended, that Wilhelm is good, and that Wilhelm understands people who are different, and that he wouldn't do something like that. And of course, and you sort of see in Wilhelm's eyes, he sort of takes that to heart a little bit. But he's going to get into that next battle with August, which is over eating. Their tradition is for all the third years to eat first, to get their food first, and then it goes through the rest of the students. Well, basically, Wilhelm's going to challenge that. I mean, he is really standing up and putting in challenges here. Just his demeanor walking around and talking to people is so much different than it was in the first season. But he's basically going to get up to eat. August says, hey, you can't do that. Wilhelm's basically going to say, well, you're going to have to stop me. And the prefect says that, hey, this is for you all to decide. So Wilhelm calls for everybody to vote, and it's decided that the others can eat first. And basically, August gives in to him again. And, that's two conflicts. 2 times August has given in to Wilhelm. Next, we have a scene that I thought we would probably get between August and Sara, because August actually thinks it was Sara that told Wilhelm that he was the one that leaked the video, but Sara denies it, and so he is really in the middle of a breakdown here. He tells Sara how much he hates what he did and how sorry he was, and that he's tried to apologize, and she's going to help him out. It's almost like he's having a panic attack. She puts her hand on his chest to get him to breathe, and finally he comes out of it, and she's going to leave. This really affected her. We're not really going to go much into that. Then we move into the library, and this is an important scene because we're finally going to have Wilhelm and Simone coming face to face, and they're actually going to talk a little bit about what's going on. Simone, to just keep things short, doesn't trust Wilhelm after what he did, but he does tell him that he doesn't know if they'll be apart forever. But right now, Simone just needs some time away from him. And this is something that I don't think Wilhelm is really getting through his thick skull. And so the two are going to part ways, and that's going to bring us to the last series of scenes. Marcus, Simone arrived at the karaoke bar, and it's almost like a date for him with Marcus, and they're going to start singing karaoke. They're having fun. Meanwhile, Simone's friend is videoing what's going on, and it's revealed basically Wilhelm is sitting at the school, and he's in a situation where he's just watching what's going on. And you can tell he's getting very jealous about this. And so he basically explodes. He goes to his room. He calls his mother, who is very glad to have him calling. She's, of course, very worried about him. Lots of things have been going on, and he basically wants to talk to her advisors out loud, so he demands that she put him on speakerphone, which she does. She lays the phone down, and he basically goes off saying he is tired of being controlled. He does not want to be the crown prince. They ruined his life, and he wasn't going to do this. And that is the end of episode 1. So now I have some thoughts on this episode, and I really enjoyed this episode. I thought we saw a lot of character development. We had a lot of story coming together. We had a few things answered, like Sara and August sort of resolving this situation that Sara was not the one who told Wilhelm about August leaking the pictures or leaking the video. I'll be honest, I don't really like this character, Marcus. He sort of just seems thrown in. I'm not really sure where they're going to go with this. It's obvious he's going to be the third person in this relationship, and we'll just have to see where that goes. I don't think most people are going to like that very much. I think it is interesting that they did allow Wilhelm and Simone to have that conversation where Simone said, hey, I just need some space. Back off a little bit. Give me some room to breathe. And I don't know where things are going to go. It may not be forever that we're not talking to each other. But right now, I just need some space. I thought that was a very good conversation. And I'm going to tell you, I really like how in this series, even in season 1, that Wilhelm and Simone will talk about things. They might end up arguing about it a little bit, and they may not agree, but they do tend to talk about things, and that I think is a very, very positive. I'm glad they show that in this series. Another little thing I'm looking at is how is Sara fitting in? And I think she might be starting to realize, even in this first episode, that this might be a little more than she thought it was going to be. I think she thought it was going to be just moving in, being real easy, not costing any extra money because she was on a scholarship, her room, and she's good friends with Felice. But even Felice, I think, is a little older than her. She has her friends already. We do get to see Sara sort of walking behind Felice and some of her friends at one point. So I'm wondering if that's going to lead us to seeing Sara back home at some point. Now, the other interesting thing here, or the other thing that I think has potential to be important, is going back to this idea of this 120th anniversary of the school and having the Queen there and having Wilhelm make a speech. And that is, I wonder if they're going to set that up and have that be when Wilhelm tells everybody, hey, this was Simone and me in the video, and with the Queen being there and everybody there and bringing that out. Now, as I said, I really like this episode. There was nothing in this episode I didn't like. The music and how they used the music was wonderful. I really have been shocked in this first episode of how good Omar and Edvin are as Simone and Prince Wilhelm. I know they were great last year, but man, just this episode really expanded their range to me, and I'm really excited to see what happens in the rest of the series. And then, of course, there's August. Everybody's going to hate August, but I think it's pretty obvious he is regretting what happened. He realizes probably at this point that Wilhelm helped him stay at Hillerska, and you can tell he's feeling very guilty about it. What that brings about in the future, we'll just have to see. Now, with all that being said, what is my grade for this episode? I'm going to give it an A-. I want to leave some room for the other episodes. Now, I am going to ask everybody at this point, I am not going through and binging the entire series and then going back and doing reactions. I am watching one episode, doing a reaction. Watching the second episode, doing the reaction. So please do not spoil anything in the comments. Please keep any comments you make to the episode the video is about. So with that, thanks everyone for listening to this episode. Please subscribe to the channel. It means everything to me. Also, like this video, and along with that, make some comments below. And I'll see you next time on the Fandom Realm.